Congratulations, you have decided to join band and you've chosen the saxophone to be your instrument. And gosh, what a great instrument it is. It is in that middle range, so it is a woodwind, but it can play some really cool low notes. So welcome. Why don't we go ahead and get started? First, we need to open our case. So making sure that you have a nice big area around you so you can set your case down on the floor. This case is just too darn big. You don't want to have it sitting on your lap because if it falls down to the ground, then the instrument could break. So either on the floor, or if you do have a table or a desk nearby, that would be a great place to set your case down. Now, to figure out which part is the lid or the top part of the case, there is possibly some sort of label or logo that tells you that this is the top part of the case, or if you look from the side, you can see that the lid is thinner because the bottom part has to actually hold the instrument in it. So the lid's here, or how the latches open, if they go up and then down, that can also tell you that that's the lid. Now, for safety, I'm going to set my instrument on the floor just so that way it does not fall off my lap. All right, case is down, safe, and I've got the lid open. First thing I need you to grab is a reed. Now, a reed is a little piece of wood that looks like this. It has a thicker end on the bottom and a very thin tip. That thin tip, the top part, is very easy to break, so we have to be careful with it. Now, this reed often comes in what looks like this sort of case. This case protects that tip while you are not using your reed. While we are getting our instrument put together, place your reed in your mouth so that way it moistens up. If your reed is not moist, it will not vibrate and it will not create sound. So, putting that thin tip in and leave it in your mouth the whole time while you're putting your instrument together. I'm not going to do that right now because you would not understand a word that I would say if I had the reed in my mouth. So I'm going to set this aside for now. And the next piece I'm going to grab is called the neck strap. There's a little compartment next to the body of the beast, and it can hold this neck strap here. Now, each neck strap can be looking a little bit different. It might have a little extra padding than others, and that's a-okay, whatever works for you and whatever you already have. So it's exactly as it sounds. You're going to put it so that way it hangs on your neck. It's a beautiful necklace, very fashionable. And don't worry too much about this part yet. Just kind of leave it for now. Now let's grab the body of the beast. The best place to grab onto the body of the saxophone, the biggest piece of it, is by the bell, where there's no keys. So the bell is this area right here. That's where the sound comes out. Holding by the bell and then the bottom piece here, those are good places to have your hands resting. Now we need to take this cap out of the top. This cap helps protect the metal up here from bending. It does seem very sturdy because you can't bend it with your fingers, which don't try, but if it happens to fall or if something happens, then it does help sort of keep that metal's round shape. So we will take that little cap out and we'll put it back in our case. And the next piece we will need to grab is the neck. The neck is this piece here. The other gold piece, a little bit smaller than the body. And it has a cork end and then a discolored metal end. This discolored metal end is what will go into this top part of the saxophone. Notice how there's this pole right here. Making sure that it's all the way in, that pole will go in between this movable piece here and the neck. So we will place it on and we'll twist. So it looks something like that. Here's it from a different angle. Once we have the neck in a comfortable position, we can tighten the screw. Now, because we're going to need both of our hands at some point during this, why don't we go ahead and attach our neck strap to the saxophone. Somewhere above the thumb rest on the back, there is this little loop. It's not a key, it's not for any actual playing, it's just to hold this neck strap clip onto the instrument. Now that that's attached, we are a little bit safer, but still try to have at least one hand on the instrument at all times. Next piece we need to grab is the mouthpiece. mouthpiece actually has quite a few parts on it right now. So first we've got the mouthpiece cap. This cap helps protect the tip of the mouthpiece and the reed, if the reed's on, from getting chipped or dented or anything terrible that could happen. So we'll take that mouthpiece cap off, and for now we're going to put it back in that cubby in our case. Now, we also have this metal piece on the mouthpiece. This is called the ligature. Now our ligatures are going to look different. My ligature has the screws on the top. Either way, the screws are going to have to be turned with our right hand. For now, let's set this aside because it is very easy to bend and break. So now we have just the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece has a flat side and kind of a bumpy side. This flat side is where the flat side of the reed is going to rest against. So flat side to flat side, thin tip to thin tip of the reed. Just like this. Flat to flat, thin tip to thin tip. Now, you're going to want to center the reed so that way it's perfectly in between what are called the rails of the mouthpiece around these holes. So the reed won't go in the hole. It lays flat tip to flat tip, flat side to flat side. And we want to see just a little bit of that black mouthpiece at the top. Just a little bit, not too much, so we don't want the reed up too high above the mouthpiece or down too low. We want to see just a little bit of that black mouthpiece. Once we have that aligned, we can go ahead and grab our ligature again. Now remember, my ligature is going to look a little different. So mine, in order for me to screw with my right hand, the screws are on the top. Now I need to loosen my ligature because right now the ligature is above the curved line on the back. So I'm going to loosen that. There we go, and then I'll slide it down. I'll make sure my reed is positioned just right in the center, with just a little bit of that black mouthpiece showing above the reed tip. And then once I feel comfortable, I'll tighten the screws, not too tight, just comfortably to hold the reed so that way it can freely vibrate at the tip. Up close, this is what your mouthpiece generally should look like. You may have screws that are on this side where they're right in front of the reed, just as long as your right hand is turning the screws. Up a little bit closer, you can see that black mouthpiece tip right at the top, and the reed is center on the mouthpiece. Now taking that mouthpiece, we're going to place it on the cork side of the neck, and we're going to place it with the reed facing down. We're going to twist, 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 not all the way on, leaving about this much space of cork on the neck. Now, as we can see, it's not comfortable if we were to leave our neck strap this loose. We don't want to crane our necks. We want the saxophone to come to us. So finding this sort of buckle type deal, we're going to use that to loosen. Now your neck strap again is going to be a little bit different, so it might take some time to figure out how to loosen or move it around. Now it's more comfortably at my face, but I do need to move the neck, so I'm going to loosen the screw, move that, and there we go. In our next video, we will talk about which fingers we will push down and how to create sound with our mouth and with the saxophone.